Ruth Kadzai here. In today's video, we are going to be talking about how to overcome interview nerves. Whether you've got an interview in a couple of hours, a day's time, or a week, I am confident that these tips will definitely help you appear more confident and therefore convincing the hiring manager that you are the right candidate for the role. Before I get started, please, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel if you like this kind of content. Like, share, comment, all of those things. It really encourages me and supports me and my work to continue providing more videos for you. Step number 1, stop treating it like an interview and start treating it like a meeting. I feel like the word interview instills fear, but if you think this is a meeting, much like how you would meet with your colleague and talk about each other, it does something, it changes your mindset and therefore relaxes you a little bit. You're a lot less nervous because you understand you're just there, you're showcasing yourself, and that's all it is. All it is, an interview is your opportunity to go out there and sell yourself, right? And in as much as the company is trying to understand the value that you will bring to their organization, you're also there to understand why you should choose that company above anyone else. So by starting to think of it as a meeting, it already instantly relaxes you, right? And I mean, nerves are good. I don't want to come here and say being nervous at a meeting is totally terrible. It's not. However, it is very important to strike a balance of nervousness. I know it might sound really, really weird, but you don't want to appear too overconfident because what the hiring manager might take that as is being arrogant, and that's definitely a no-no. If the hiring manager senses that from you, then it may mean that you don't necessarily fit in with their organization and they're more likely to dismiss your application. But a little bit of nervousness is good because it shows that you care. Think of it like when you're planning something for someone special, get a little bit nervous about how the event is going to go, if everything's going to go well. And it is quite good to portray some of those nerves to the hiring manager. But again, it's about striking that balance, and this tip will instantly get you to relax your nerves. The second tip is read the job description. I cannot stress this enough. The job description is literally your instructions to nailing your interview. Nowadays, job descriptions are so descriptive, right? You have different sections that highlight the type of person they want, the type of skills they want that person to have, the type of experience they want that person to have. And that is the blueprint for the hiring manager. When you go for your interview, it's more often than not, the hiring manager will have a piece of paper, and that piece of paper is the job description, right? So why is it important for you to read the job description is because as you're preparing your responses to interview questions, you can make sure that you're dropping a few keywords that align with that job description. If they say they want somebody who's a great team worker, you don't need to wait until they ask you, show us an example of when you've been a great team worker. You can start dropping some of those words in other questions, so then as you're speaking, the hiring manager can just be, ticking along. It also empowers you to start thinking about some of the questions that the organization might ask you. Tip number 3 is the tell me about yourself question. Now, I've singled this out specifically because it's the most common interview question, and I guarantee you that in every interview you go into, they will most definitely ask you this. So it is really important to take time to craft out a well curated and thought out response, because this is usually the first question that is asked. As soon as you sit down, the hiring manager and the interviewer will say, so tell me about yourself. And how you answer that question will set the tone for the rest of the interview. So you want to appear really strong and really confident. If you don't know how to answer this question, I will drop something in the description, a workbook that will help you curate a really good answer. But there's some of the things that you need to start thinking about, that you need to be highlighting, are your skills, your experiences, your achievements, and who you are. It is important to not just throw in buzzwords just because you want to impress them, but in addition to your experiences, etc., they also need to know the type of person that you are. Tip number 4 is research the company. There is no annoying feeling for the hiring manager than to interview a candidate who doesn't even know about the organization or what their products are. And it's more likely that the hiring manager will ask you to tell them about the company. This is just to assess what you know and how much research and how much time you've put into preparing for this interview. So you want to understand their historic performance. You want to understand what products do they offer. You also want to use websites such as Glassdoor. This is a way for you to understand how other people in that organization feel and or to understand and get a feel of the hiring process. You also want to follow the company on LinkedIn, so then you keep up to date with the current developments for that organization, because in your interview you can easily quote to say, oh, I noticed that 5 days ago you posted on LinkedIn that XYZ, and that puts you in a really strong position. You also want to use websites such as Glassdoor. This is a way for you to understand how other people in that organization feel and or to understand and get a feel of the hiring process. The last tip is prepare questions for the end of the interview. Don't let the interview finish and you're also done. This is a further opportunity for you to show that you are the right candidate. So I suggest you prepare about 3 to 5 questions that are focused on the company. You can ask questions about their culture, their career development, and or what other advice they would give to someone starting out in this role. You can also take the opportunity to ask them if they have any reservations about why you're not the right candidate. Again, giving you an extra opportunity for you to really sell yourself. I hope these have been really useful, but just to summarize and bring it back together, the tips that you are going to use to overcome your interview nerves is, first of all, stop treating it like an interview and start treating it like a meeting. Reading and reading and reading the job description. Learning how to answer the tell me about yourself interview question. You're going to research the company. And lastly, you're going to prepare questions for the end of the interview. I hope this video has been very useful. And if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and leave comments down below to any other tips that you use to overcome interview nerves.